We see an expert to check up on our health. We see an expert to check up on our car. Why don't we do the same with our finances? Jump online and book a free personal financial health check with Jeff Bowman from Wealth by Design. Knowledge is power. Follow the link on edgeradioaustralia.com. Design a future for you and your children. Wealth by Design.
Oh, that fancy little spot at the beginning. That must mean it's time for Wealth by Design. Look who's here.
G'day, big fella.
Hello, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
One of my best mates in the game. What can you say? Jeff Bowman. Why are you such a good mate? Well, because you're filling up my super and you're making me, giving me a bit of a future there. I'm very happy with that.
I'm very pleased we can provide a bit of technical support there, Aaron.
Oh, it's not one of my skill sets.
You can't keep running at this pace your entire life.
Oh, really?
You will get to 60 and you will go, maybe I want to spend more time in Italy.
I might not be 60, but I feel about 90, but apart from that, we're all good. Energy levels are very high because we have an awesome guest today.
We do.
Mate. Would you like to do the introduction?
We are very, very fortunate today. We are absolutely so fortunate. Kate de Jong, a well-known name to many of you out there, I'm sure. Kate is our guest today, and she has a fabulous business, Aaron, called Inspired Business. And she's inspired a lot of activity with a lot of my clients, including myself, with respect to structure, branding, design. Clever girl, Kate. And we're so pleased to have you on board, Kate, because we've been trying to get you here for a while.
Yeah.
But you're so bloody booked up. We had a window. We got you in today. So welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Love the studio.
It's absolutely our pleasure to have you. We've obviously met on a few occasions before, and everything you've just said, I just have to reiterate. I mean, you've got your finger on the pulse. You kind of, in my eyes anyway, and certainly, maybe I'm a little biased because I do really like your work, but it's
I know that you've got more female friends.
I have. That's by design.
Bit of a ladies' man.
That's friendship by design.
Bloody
Look at
old
that.
friendship. Aaron, the girls.
Oh dear. Before this goes off the rails, but okay. For those who don't know what you do and the structure of your business, I guess, from the point of view of what you bring to a client, what do you do?
Yeah, well, in general, I help people start and grow businesses. Very much specialize in the startup phase. Have been doing that for about almost a decade now. I stepped away from a 15-year career in engineering back in 2012.
Right.
We moved overseas. I had young children, and I needed to figure out what to do with myself for a 6-year overseas stint, and decided that I was going to start my own business. And when we came back to Perth in 2017, started growing my coaching business, and then people started asking me, how did you grow your business? And I joined forces with another lady, and she was a startup coach. And so we would travel Australia doing 3-day in-room workshops for female founders. And it was all the basics of getting a business off the ground. And it was all about branding, market positioning, market analysis. Messaging was a huge one, that clarity of message, and then helping them get through that, what I call valley of death, the first 3 to 5 years, where it's really hard to get a business off the ground and establish a market share and profitability. And so it's really guiding people through those first 3 to 5 years to establish firm roots. And what I find is, I reckon at least 80% of what I do is helping people develop a clear message to market, which is how I know Jeff, because that, especially for service businesses, is the biggest challenge. And if you can't tell people what you do, the problem you solve, then how do they know if they need you or not?
That's right. You might have the best business. You might offer something very unique that really, is so beneficial. But if the messaging isn't right, people don't
miss the boat.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. And that's so true, because as many of our listeners know, I had the planning company forever. That was easy. Like all the branding was done. It was an established business for 25 years. But then took a break and then set up Wealth by Design. And Kate was one of the first people we went to, because I could get the message right just out of my own head. But it was, Kate would come in and sit down and go, righto, well, she has the ability to ask lots of questions, type, and be creative at the same time. It's a rare skill. And then after I've been blabbering on, Kate would go, well, what about this, And I mean, you coined the term, are you catching the wave, or are you being left behind? Right?
Yeah.
So it was so that's part of our
Okay.
world, right?
Very much.
Technology is moving so quickly. Are you keeping up?
Yeah.
So the whole wave concept just came out of that bloody, like 15 minutes of brain power from this young lady here. She went, what about this? I said, what a bloody great idea. So it's just that creative capacity to understand a particular nuances of a particular type of business or service is rare. So good on you, Kate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, needless to say, I was a square peg in a round hole as an engineer because words are mine.
I wanted to ask you. I needed to go there.
It's a science world, and then it's a creative world. Yeah.
So I love engineers. I mean, hang on, that's not true. I shouldn't say that. I love engineering. Engineers can be quite tough as personalities because they're very focused on what's in front of them, and they're not. I don't know. Well, I work in a creative sort of industry, therefore we're in different worlds, right? And even though I love the engineering and the what's actually being built and why it works and how it works, I love all of that. But we kind of speak two different languages. Yeah, how did you do that?
It's funny because as in your studio, there's a pair of boots down there, and one's got orange laces and the other one's got purple. Yeah, and I just thought to myself, this is the sign of a true creative. Like I'm entering a creative space.
I'm very glad to hear that. Do you know what those boots are?
No,
they are my old racing boots from when I was a rally driver back in the day.
Oh, no way.
And and I had very, very bright colours. I mentioned that for my cars and so forth. So it was a bit of a running joke about the fact that one was green and one was one was green for go and one was for stop.
Is that what the colours were? Yeah. I just noticed they were different.
No, it's tongue in cheek. Yeah, very much so. But it's
very deliberate all the same.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
And I just thought, I love that because I myself am very creative, but engineering was far too left brain,
very rigid,
shades of grey. There was not as much colour, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, and I followed that path for all the wrong reasons. It was what my dad wanted, pretty much. Yeah, and so I felt like an imposter because I never felt like an engineer,
Really?
And I always knew that I had this gift with words. And I do remember one of my clients who happened to be at the Water Corporation, she said to me once, I love getting your reports. We do these consulting reports about a process upgrade or treatment plant infrastructure. And she'd say, your reports are like a breath of fresh air. It's like you're telling a story and you take me in and I'm on a journey.
How good is that, though?
How good is that?
Well, that's painting a picture. Right, and so much of sales and marketing is painting a picture, and where you
taking someone on a journey. Yes,
boom, absolutely. So, I mean, like I know the wonderful work that you do, Wealth by Design. I know it because I see it. I talk to your clients. I don't know. I'm sort of immersed in so much of it. Now, the thing is, if I just sort of walked in and didn't know about the story of the business, I'd be a bit lost. I wouldn't think, how would I know your difference? What I'm trying to get at. Okay? I'm saying this in a very eloquent way, but I wouldn't know your point of difference. Now, someone like Kate brings that to the fore, and that is just brilliant. It really is.
Yeah, and it's evolved, hasn't it?
Yes.
So
Totally. Yeah.
And so I find that the message also evolves, and it's about you get to a point as a business owner where you suddenly become crystal clear about what you're offering. Like in the last 6 months, you've come such a long way in figuring out, right, this is what we stand for. These are the people we can serve, and this is how. And now I can help you with the messaging around that because you're clear, so I can be more clear in the message.
That is so true. Yeah, and it's a journey, and it's not an off-the-shelf thing. You have to have creative, strategic thinking, mentality to manage it, and that's why your business is a critical part of our sort of our little global network that we've been putting together because so many of our clients are small business people.
Oh, for sure.
And they might not be pulling out enough money. They're like earning basic wages. They're working 10 hours a day.
Stop telling my story, Jeff.
And they're going, it should be easier. Well, it's not, but so if you've got the missing link fixed, like how do I make my business more profitable because of all the stuff that Kate does, then all of a sudden you can stop paying yourself 80 grand a year and pay yourself a couple of $100,000 a year because you need that missing link fixed.
I just find that so many service businesses are the best kept secret. They're so good at what they do, but not enough people know about them because they can't articulate what they do clearly enough.
Yeah. You see a can of Coke. I mean, you know what a can of Coke is, right? I mean, it's the most probably the most well-known brand around. But let's face it, they still advertise. But you can look at it; it's a tangible thing. We can all know what it tastes like, what it looks like. When we're talking about a service, geez, it's hard to articulate that.
Yeah.
And that's the black magic, I guess.
Yeah, we were talking before the show that you said it's all about psychology.
It really
and it's
is.
100% all about psychology, which is also why I love it, because I've also been fascinated by human psychology.
Well, if you go on.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Got a question. It's popping up a lot, right? We talked about it last week, and it's all around AI. Right? And so I want to hear your view on how you will see AI as an asset to you and your clients, as opposed to the antithesis of that, right? Because there's a lot of people concerned about AI, like, it's going to take my job, and all of a sudden, I won't have my clerk's job at the law firm because I can get AI to process all that paperwork. That's probably true.
Yeah.
But I would have thought, in your world, you're almost immune from any risk because you're at the front end of maybe using AI to further develop the stuff that you already do for your clients and make your life easier to deliver a better product to the client. That's what I'm hoping you'll say.
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm so glad you brought it up because it's exciting and I love it. I'm personally, full disclosure, use AI all day, every day.
Well, there you go.
Fantastic.
And it is making my life so much easier. And a lot of people have said to me, aren't you worried that your role is going to be redundant? And initially I was sort of thinking, because you can just create all this stuff at the, like that. But it's like any model, like AI is a large language model, isn't it? The generative.
Great way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, the generative AI is an LLM. They call it a large language model, which
LLM.
Yeah, like any model, even going back to my engineering days, rubbish in equals rubbish out.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you can use it as a tool, and it's masterful, and I love it, especially for digesting things and creating structure out of things, and it gets you away from blank page syndrome.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
I love it for the inspiration.
Good.
Because I was like, my initial thought was I was against it, absolutely against it. I thought, well, this is going to harm what I do. But no, I've actually found quite the opposite. It's enhanced. It gives me inspiration. It also gives me structure.
Yes.
Exactly that. If you're in front of a blank page and you need to write a bit of copy, and your mind's going here, there, everywhere, this is a great way of narrowing it down.
Yeah.
Saving yourself time. But the human element, and that's what you bring to the party, let's face it, the human element, the psychology, and the actual understanding why people do what they do, and that side of things.
Yeah.
That's what takes it to the next level. That's what takes it from being just an AI generated bit of, into something that actually genuinely resonates and links with people.
Yeah. And I've got quite some stories on that because it's obviously people are talking about it a lot at the moment. And I think it does the grunt work for us now, right? You don't have to spend 3 hours generating a blog like you used to, or some piece of long form content that you've thought through. You can actually get 80% of the way there by just putting your thoughts into AI and helping it shape it for you. And then what I find is then you can use the rest of that time, or, then you've got time for spacious thinking, which is actually looking at it critically. So rather than being stuck in the grunt work, you just take a step back and actually, is that what I'm trying to say? Or is it more, is it more nuanced? Or I find that it's elevated my thinking because I'm not stuck doing the
grunt work.
No,
and I think that's great because I was hoping you'd say that because that's how I imagine it to be.
Yeah.
With the little knowledge I have about it, and it can be really used to our advantage. I mean, I showed Aaron and a business coach a little bit of software here recently, right?
It's just amazing.
And it
blew my mind.
It actually it's called it's a Google product. It's called Google Notebook, and I think it's called LM.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And it just one of my new clients showed it to me, and he said, "Hey mate, what about this?" I sent him a file note, a one-page file note, on all these various things that fitted into what he was looking for to basically supercharge his investment portfolio by integrating some of the new digital assets into it, right? And he was just worried about security, but now he's happy with the security side. But this whole one-pager, this bloody AI thing was two people turning my text into a talk show.
Yes. Yeah.
What? Can you believe that?
Yeah. I have.
Because you've come across it, you would know what it would do.
It is just
Wasn't it amazing?
Oh, I couldn't believe it. And
Yeah.
it was the conversation sounded very natural.
Yeah.
And people's cadence and the pauses and all that kind of thing were in the right spots.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
This is the I can't tell anymore what's human generated and what's AI generated.
I can.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. But you know,
with that notebook
so
LM,
good.
I did hear a conversation. You can still tell, but what I'm finding, even on YouTube this morning, I was watching something, it's just a random interview between Stephen Colbert and Prince Harry and how they had this massive argument on set. And I was like, wow, did that actually happen? But I couldn't find it anywhere. It was AI generated and they had just speculated, because then I went to try to find the original thing, the original interview, but it didn't exist. It was just AI having fun with, imagine if
this had happened.
Yeah.
It's so true. I mean,
these two people had a blue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of teasing about the point. I mean, the only reason I can tell, and honestly, it's so good, it's unbelievably accurate. The only reason I can tell is because I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to audio. So I pick up on these things.
Yeah, and you pull stuff about and slice it and dice it.
Yeah, so I'm accustomed to doing that.
Yeah.
So from my point of view, I've probably got a different take on it. But I actually want to just jump to a question that's popped up a little while ago from Lisa. Thank you so much for the question. And this was, I'm going to assume this is together, I know, encompass a lot of marketing and so forth. So should we try and please everyone? That is the question. What are your thoughts?
In the context of AI?
I think this was before AI. I think this popped up before. This is the question that popped up about when you're marketing, when you're actually marketing.
Oh, no. Actually,
in other words, are you targeted or is it a shotgun approach? I think that's a question.
Yeah, no, actually, no, you're definitely not trying to please everyone. And actually, messaging is a filtering method where you're actually filtering out all those who don't resonate with your message or what you're offering.
Right.
And I think of it as like a dartboard. You've got to get so specific with the bullseye has to be very targeted. And then whatever lands elsewhere on the board may or may not, resonate with your messaging. But it's a great way to filter out those that don't either believe what you believe or resonate with your values So the more, and that's on the AI topic. That's where I find AI falls short. Is it's often so generic that that's how I can usually tell if something's AI generated. And a friend said to me this week, actually, there's one business we both get their communications, and she said, did you see the email about X? And I said, no, I didn't. To be honest, I've switched off because I get so many of them and they just appear to be AI generated, so I've tuned out. And she said, oh, I'm so glad you said that because I'm about to give them feedback that it's so clearly AI generated that it's turning me off and I don't want to engage. And I had already switched off without really even noticing. So I think you do have to be so careful now in marketing that you still sound like a human and you're actually talking like a human. And those generic AI emails, they don't bring you in with the emotion. And it's the psychology thing, I think, that you were saying before. It's like you've got to hit it is all about hitting the emotional strings of a customer.
Of course it is, yeah.
And AI is great at skimming across the surface a lot of the time without really going.
That's a great way of putting it. It really does skim across the surface because you're right. I mean, it's a general product, a product that's made to generalize things to get as big a market as possible. Whereas, when you're marketing your product, well, quite frankly, I don't want everybody. I want the people who actually need my services. Yeah. So I want to narrow that down.
Which is a very small segment of the market, right? Yeah. And there's enough in that small segment for you to hit the 200K a year,
Sure.
And with that really specific, and it's a counterintuitive principle, isn't it? That I find I'm always saying to clients, if you market to everyone, like if you're trying to please everyone, you market to no one.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's in our industry, like for argument's sake, we wanted a news service, okay, and our news service is to the general news stations are rather left wing. Okay. Now, wherever you sit in your political beliefs, quite frankly, I consider myself centre right. So I don't really want to promote left wing politics, right? Why would I want to do that in that sort of attitude? But guess what? Trying to find a more honest and not agenda driven news was incredibly difficult, right?
Okay. Yep.
So what do? Well, this is what we've done. We are using AI for that very reason. So we can use our time effectively. We can make a very short news service, only 90 seconds. And my attitude with the news service is, here's information, go and research it. You do as you will with it, rather than me selling my opinion to people. Right? This is here. It is in the black and white. Now that product doesn't exist normally, and with AI, we've been able to do that. And to me, that's, I mean, I think certainly for what we're doing, if you want to be genuine and you want to be, I mean, very, very honest with your public, then that seems a better path to go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you do that as a 90-second news segment?
We do a 90-second news service, actually. And one of our people here, Brandon, looks after it and puts it together for us. Absolutely fantastic. Oh. And it's got a bit of his quirk about it, but it's very much, again, it wants people to empower themselves. If you're interested in the subject matter, then go and follow it up. Yeah. And where I'm going on all of this is the fact that we're now not being forced down a path of promoting something that doesn't believe in our ideals and vice versa. But also with the beauty of AI, the amount of time that it's saving is massive. Yeah. So effectively, it means we can be on brand. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay, and our messaging is to the people who are actually our audience. Yeah. We're not trying to be friends with everybody. Yes. We know the people who actually enjoy our content.
Yeah, and what they resonate with. Yeah, because you know your audience. Yeah. Interesting.
Good stuff. Yeah, so Kate, is there particular businesses, because as you know, we refer work to people, and you're one of the people we refer work to, but we haven't really cranked it up yet. And so the thinking is there a sort of a turnover number that is a gauge of a particular ideal client for you guys?
No, as long as they're willing to invest in good messaging, then I've helped startups that are bootstrapping. Yeah, okay. Established businesses that are happy to put a budget towards it, but no, I mean anyone that's struggling to articulate their message and they're willing to to get the right support to fix it up, then because what I find the biggest mistake most businesses make is they try to sell what they do. So we're bookkeepers, we keep your accounts, or we're counselors and we do blah blah. But messaging is all about articulating the problem you solve. Yes. Really clearly, so that if someone lands, they're like, oh, I have that problem, and they can see that you're the right person to solve it for them. Yep. So that. It's almost formulaic in a sense. I always call it the transformation in your messaging. You've got to speak to people where they are now. What's the emotional, psychological state they're feeling right now? And where will they be after they've had your service or worked with you? If you can clearly articulate that, and we're doing it on your website, for example, with just 3 bullet points. Does this sound like you? Is this where you are? Is this where you want to be? Well, then you're in the right place. That's what we help you do. Yes. Okay. Yep. And that's what we call the transformation. And if people can see that you can, get them from A to B, they don't care how much you charge as long as you can get them there if the emotional pull is big enough. But they have to be able to visualize themselves in that place. On retired with more than enough money in super, which I'm also working with Jeff on accelerating my wealth accumulation, So
it's a great thing to do. Let's face it. I mean,
I want what he has because I've made an emotional connection to that state where I have ample super in my, money in my super to sustain the lifestyle I want. And so I'm there. And so therefore I'm willing to pay what it takes to have that support. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, the knowledge, I keep saying it, knowledge is power, right? Okay. And what you're amazing at, I'm lousy at. Yeah. Okay. So why in the world?
And with all of us.
Yeah. So why keep just tripping over yourself and trying to actually do it on your own, whereas you can get somebody involved? And this goes for both of you. I mean, like if you've got a business that is, you might be incredibly good at what you do, but if people don't know, they need you, and if they're trying to put together their future and something they can, have a comfortable retirement, leave something for their kids, all of that, then obviously go to the man who's got the knowledge and the connections. This is what it's all about. Be the dumbest person in the room.
And just get the right people to help you. It's that old that book. What is it? Who, not how. Who can help me do this? And you've got to surround yourself with specialists. And the majority of businesses that come to me, they have used AI to generate their messaging so far, and it's often just totally misses the mark, because it's that whole thing, rubbish in, rubbish out again. But you've got to, there is an art to good, as you know, Aaron, there's an art to good messaging. Very true. It takes time and experience to get that right. And AI will do whatever you ask it to, but it just might not always hit the mark.
But the better quality information you put in, the better product you'll
yeah.
get.
Yeah, and you've got to steer it. You've got to say
Mm.
that was good, but it needs to be, you need to steer the AI
Yeah.
until you get to the outcome you want.
And you're dead right. I think your key point was in relation to the grunt work.
Mm.
If all that stuff in the middle, the tedious grunt work can be shortened.
That's right.
Then, because you've only got so many hours in the day, let's face it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was saying, but it's bloody so true.
Mm-hmm.
You be more efficient and get rid of the crap, and have creative input to nail it. Then it's got to be a very, very valuable part of our workplace. Yeah. So have you got a preferred type of industry that that you've either worked in the past? You go, yeah, I really like this type of industry.
Yeah, well,
does that sort of come into it at all with you?
Yeah, I love anyone that's a little bit outside the box. That's why I love working with you, Jeff, because you're not quite inside the box.
No,
Not quite. well. So I was just about to finish to talk with the bloke who says, "Oh, yeah, the nutty professor." I go, beauty, Ian. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
okay, well, I know you mean well.
Yeah, so those are my favourite clients. Like wealth of knowledge, wealth of expertise, just sort of struggling to let people know how valuable they are.
Yeah,
and so any industry, whether you're in the wealth, financial industry, but I love helping people in the health space, in the psychology counseling space, I seem to attract a lot of people in the spiritual space that are struggling with messaging. But then again, I've helped HR firms, accounting firms, anyone that's they are different to their competitors, but just struggling to tell people how.
Oh, yeah. So you will love this guy, Drew, who I'll introduce you to, because he helped me have the really tricky situation with friends of ours that own a medical centre. And they had this situation where they gave the daughter of one of the staff, like a senior staff member in this medical practice, a job because she'd had a drug problem and she couldn't get employed and had a bad rap. And they're like, all right, we'll do the right thing. We'll give you a job.
Yep.
But it backfired because this girl was sort of out of control and was causing grief. And they had this situation, well, how do we manage the situation, or how do we get rid of her, right? And it was difficult because her mother was like a senior part of the management team. And the mother couldn't get involved and still loves the daughter. Like tricky. So I spoke to this Drew bloke, and he said, because he's a very switched on HR guy and got clients in Hong Kong, and he's a bit of international sort of a clap, but most of his work's here in Perth. And I said, what do you reckon about this? He said, leave it up to me. Just do the email introduction, which I did. And then the medical practice people said later, that was the best introduction, Jeff. Thank God for you. Oh. It was this guy came in, put a whole thing in place. The girl resigned, and willingly,
right? So
and realised that
crafted the situation.
Crafted a very clever situation.
Perfect word for it.
Met all of the requirements of workers, the Fair Work Act and blah 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 blah. So there couldn't be any dramas there. The girl realised really that she was actually taking advantage of a situation and being quite mischievous. Wow. Yeah. And in the end realised that these new practices that were just being put in place for everyone's benefit.
Yep.
She realised, I really don't fit here. I better resign.
Oh, well done.
So the mother was sort of happy that she didn't have to get involved. Yeah. And someone with particular nuanced skills in this area could nail it. Yeah. So he might get hold of you and go, well, gee, Kate, I only really got that gig because Jeff put me onto you. Yeah. Or put me onto the medical practice. Yeah. Maybe his messaging of his unique skills could be articulated by someone like yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's all.
We all find this in all businesses. I haven't met anyone who hasn't had these sort of drums. You could be the greatest, I don't know, motor mechanic in the world. Okay, it's just amazing at what you do, but guess what? You've got a terrible business. It's not successful. You're working 80 hours a week. You've got less hair than me. Everything's you're pulling it all out. Now, if you get somebody involved who actually understands the messaging, and you put together a campaign that can improve that, and therefore you can bring the business in, you don't have to struggle all that sort of. Guess what? You can start employing other people. You can bring those working hours down. You can do all those things. You can get
a great example of that.
Actually. Okay, I'd love to hear. Yeah,
a motorbike. It was a motor here in Wanneroo or something, but it was a motorcycle company
Yep.
that was struggling to tell. They had some very average website, very average messaging. And when I was talking to the wife, she said, our website just doesn't convert and we don't get enough clients through the door. Listen to her story and just said to her, this guy is like a unicorn. But nowhere are you telling his story or why he's so good at and why motorbike races should come to him instead of his competitors. So we remessaged the website and really managed to bring all this, because this guy was really, really passionate about racing, had been racing motorbikes since he was young. He was into the spare parts trade. And so basically what he loves doing is helping people, enthusiasts like him, to continuously upgrade, optimize their bikes. And so he's, bringing in spare parts and intimately understands engines, and how, and so
all the bits.
But their website was just like spare parts.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were wondering why no one was coming to them. But now when it was like, this guy's a magician. If you're a motorcycling enthusiast, you need to see him now because he will transform your riding experience. Do you know what I mean?
Well done.
And you can picture yourself on that bike, enjoying that freedom. It changes the whole picture. Interesting. I think this relates very much to what you've just said as far as this question. That's another comment from Lisa. I appreciate you bringing these great points up there. Lisa says, would love to know about your TED Talk. There you go. Right?
Oh,
Yes, we haven't talked about your TED Talk.
Why not? Let's go.
So I did a TED Talk, on just something that I'm very passionate about because it was my journey, I suppose. And I've written a book about it as well called Seeds of a Calling, which I released in 2022. But basically, it was my journey of being in a profession that was the wrong fit for me. It was not my zone of genius. I couldn't thrive in that career path because my skills and strengths are here, and that job required this, set of skills and strengths. And the physical impact that had on me, like over a period of about 10 years, I started just with niggles and always feeling sick, but eventually turned into chronic fatigue, hypothyroid problems. I was really ill for about 10 years.
No idea. Oh, my God.
We've all got a backstory, haven't we?
For a decade. We've got a backstory.
Yeah.
Well done.
And
so you've made a full recovery, obviously.
Yeah, and the full recovery was simply quitting the career that was making me sick and choosing to do something aligned to my strengths.
Right.
The old story about, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life,
exactly.
right? And I mean, so many of us got to go to work because, got to pay bills, yada, yada. And I understand that, obviously. But, look, if you can refine and do what you love and what you're passionate about, guess what? You probably make a better income. Certainly your mental health's better. Often your physical health's better. It is just, you found your place.
Yeah.
So many of us, I don't know, we don't back ourselves. So the fact that you made that change, good on you. That's a big call.
We call that a gutsy effort.
Yeah, and it hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
Gutsy.
Because I don't struggle anymore with health issues of any kind. I'm rarely sick. And I think it's purely because I chose to be true to myself and actually do the things I love, which is the words and the writing and helping people in engineering. I used to always mentor, the younger engineers coming through, but I wanted to do more of that interpersonal stuff, and so now I get to use all the skills that I naturally, want to express and so on. And I love it. And I'm definitely not getting paid as much as I used to yet.
You can fix that.
We're going to fix that.
Yes. Right. I know a guy might be able to help out.
This is one of the reasons we're here.
Yeah.
Get onto this girl, Kate. Yeah.
Oh, no, but, but I couldn't be happier. Like, there's no way you could. Someone did offer me a consulting position a couple of years back with the dollar figure was very tempting. And I did actually think about it for probably an hour.
This is back in the engineering game, consulting.
Back in the water space because they're crying out for engineers. They can't get enough good people. And
Water Corp type?
It was a consulting company that, consults to companies like the Water Corp. And
the whole hydrology world. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This was large-scale water infrastructure, wastewater treatment plants.
Oh, okay.
Which was what my specialty was.
Oh, really?
What you're doing is a lot more exciting now.
I know. Sewage treatment plants. How do you end up doing that?
I know. Now, were you a mechanical engineer or chemical engineer?
Chemical.
You're a chemical, right. So that works.
Yeah, so it was all about the process. So, wastewater treatment is one big biological process. It's all bacteria that break down, and you've got to optimize the process to make that happen efficiently because it needs big aeration blowers and it costs a lot of energy. So yeah, it was very much a chemical biological process that we had to design and optimize. And we used to model it, use models to, do all the chemical predictions.
There's a segue there. I had a client for about 5 or 6 years, and she was a mechanical engineer, this woman, and she was the head project manager for the Wonthaggi, where that is.
I don't know where that is.
Victoria.
Okay.
Desal plant. They spent $4.5 billion because it was the drought, right?
Yeah.
So the Hume Weir was running out of water. The backup dam, the Dartmouth Dam, was running out of water, and so the old Victorian government, Croft and we've got to get cracking here with a big desal plant. So she drove the whole show,
right? And
the reverse osmosis filters are like as high as the MCG. They're massive.
Seriously.
Anyway, just before they were about to turn it on, the rains came down, and it's never ever worked in the last ever.
Oh my goodness!
And it costs about $10 million a year just to keep it going, because you're an engineer, you know this.
Yeah.
Well, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is all the water's got to keep circulating through these massive filters, otherwise they die.
Filters get destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, and so these enormous.
So basically, it was the greatest ever rain dance that cost a couple of $1 billion.
Yeah.
But now history is repeating itself, because like most of Victoria is in drought, right? The dams are down to 30%.
Right.
Who knows? It might just have to be turned on. So that's your previous world.
I thought it is my previous world, and we did 30-year strategic planning for Water Corp, and I was very passionate about getting groundwater replenishment, which is actually taking the water from the back end of a sewage treatment plant that's been through multiple treatment steps, very high quality, putting it through reverse osmosis plants and a number of other filtration steps, putting it back underground, and then drawing it up as drinking water. And they're doing that now.
Yes.
But they weren't. Back in the day, there was not enough political will to do the toilet to tap approach, which was all that political
toilet to tap.
Yeah.
Which is nothing. It is not anywhere. If you go to Holland, yes, somewhere like that, it's toilet to tap, because they literally pump sewage into the river, draw up drinking water a few, kilometre further down, and that is toilet to tap. And they're all drinking it, and they all seem to be fine. They've
all built up their immune system.
They're not growing extra limbs or anything.
Okay, remind me not to go to Holland, bottled water all the way. Well, from my point of view, as a person who enjoys being creative and creative people, I'm so glad you changed, because I'd rather talk about all the interesting things you do now.
All that stuff.
Toilet to tap. We got to leave this show with something other than just toilet to tap.
We do.
I
want to say this. Obviously, look, if you want to get in touch with Kate, you can go obviously through your website there, which is wealthbydesign.com.au.
Yeah.
But for yourself, you've got
they go direct to Kate.
Yeah, where they go? KateDeJong.com is my website.
You said that very quickly. So
Kate DeJong, so KateDeJong.com.
I like things to be easy. Okay, so wealthbydesign.com.au is written on the bottom of the screen there. It is so easy, and that'll take you straight through, right? Yeah, and I like simplicity.
Yeah, and I'm on there somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're definitely on there. You can go straight on to our services, and you'll see Kate John's business. Click, she's there.
Chuffed to be part of Jeff's hub of professionals helping people
hub of professional activity, including the Big Edge Radio crew.
Mate, we're very proud to be part of it.
We've got your coloured shirt and your hat on there.
That's right. You know me, I like to just sneak into the background, very quiet, very shy.
I'm telling all my friends that if you want to, ride the wave and don't get left behind, you've got to get onto alternative currencies, and you've got to get onto high yielding things, and Jeff knows all about it. So
it's a good. It's we've got a fabulous team. Yeah. Like here, classic. Like there's 3 businesses here, and the other 15. Yeah. Are all part of an integrated group of highly motivated business owners that have all got great skills in their own skill sets, and it's great.
My point of difference here is the fact that everyone that I've dealt with through Wealth by Design, very ethical, right? And to me, that really, really
high
matters.
Integrity,
and that's what I like. I mean, I almost feel like you've done the hard work where you have, because I don't have to go and I don't have to just qualify people and check and all.
There's implicit trust there.
Done. Yeah.
So it's a good word, that implicit trust. Yeah. We had Brian Sims on a few weeks ago, and he's been helping out a couple of our clients today. I had some clients in there today with him, and He's bloody marvelous.
Yeah.
Like you just need, so we're all sticking to our lanes,
Yep.
but we've got the ability to cross over
Yeah.
and assist each other, which is
Right.
marvelous.
Well, thoroughly agree with that. Well, we're going to cross over right now. We're going to go back to the radio. But if anyone wants to, obviously, if you're listening to this on radio right now at edgeradioaustralia.com, hit the link. This man's face is there. Boom, press that. That'll take you through. And you can speak directly to Kate. Otherwise, if you're watching this on socials, hey, look, leave some comments, ask some questions. We can get to those through the week. And it's always nice to, basically be interactive with people. So I love that.
Good
Thanks
stuff.
for being part
Thank you,
of
Aaron.
Wealth by Design.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you for
Kate.
having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'll get it yet. Wealth by Design at Edge Radio Australia.